Well, thank you all for being here. And we want to thank Pender County for allowing us to have this facility, and those that have worked tonight to set things up and get it comfortable and ready to go. So we appreciate Pender County very much. One other thing, I want to thank Kimberly Belfar. She's one of our chamber members, and she's the one that distributed for your questions. And if you have questions, see Kimberly. So thank you very much. We have a timekeeper tonight, a volunteer, Andy Pettigrew, and he's got a bell tonight that he's going to ring because he doesn't like my signs.
Sometimes they don't pay attention to it.
All right, we're going to start. We have everybody divided by district. So we have District 1, District 2, which has 4 candidates, District 3, and District 4. So we're going to start off tonight. We've got some great questions, but first of all, you've got 2 minutes. Would you introduce yourself and tell us why you want to be a Pender County Commissioner? And we'll start with Shane. Thank you.
I'm Shane Fry, and I'm running to be one of your Pender County Commissioners. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be here tonight in this forum. I've been a lifelong Republican. I am ready to work for you and put Pender County families first. I stand for these 3 top Pender County issues. Lower taxes. I want to keep more money in your wallet. Growth, controlled growth. It needs to be safe, planned, and it has to benefit all of Pender County. I will put Pender County first. We need to invest in infrastructure. We need to fix what's been ignored and plan smartly. We need to be proactive, not reactive. I've been deeply embedded in the community since retiring as a naval aviator after nearly 31 years. Former Topsail High School varsity baseball coach. I'm a current Pender County Schools bus driver, current Pender County Schools substitute teacher, and I umpire local youth sports. I am very aware of the issues that all of you experience daily. I also serve on the Pender EMS and Fire Board. I support our world-class first responders, including our world's finest Sheriff's Department. As a career Marine, I learned to lead with honor, integrity, and accountability. I have the courage to do what's right, even when no one else is looking. I pledge to be a servant leader for you and your family for generations to come. God bless Pender County, the great state of North Carolina, Donald John Trump, and America, who is getting ready to celebrate its 250th birthday. Thank you very much.
Green. Good evening. My name is Tim Zizak. I'm a 10-year resident of Pender County, and I'm a candidate for a Pender County Commissioner. A Pender County Commissioner, not a district commissioner. I'm a successful business owner for over 13 years. I've done domestic and international business. The domestic business experience included state businesses, partnerships, and as a licensed vendor for the state of North Carolina. My international business requires federal requirements, including licenses and learning the regulations. My international business included the countries of Switzerland, Amsterdam, Ireland, Scotland, Italy, Australia, Portugal, Mexico, and my favorite, Japan. Experience is knowledge. I've stole that. 8 years of political legislative experience. Elected 2-term commissioner, mayor pro tem at Topsail Beach. Served on the Board of Adjustments. 8 years of town government and board experience. Collaborating with 4 mayors, 8 commissioners, over 8 years of community service in Topsail Beach. Experience developing 8 budgets with fiscal, financial transparency. Department budgets, facilities, infrastructure, related community services. hurricanes, tropical storms, flooding, the pandemic. Collaborating over 8 years with Pender County commissioners, 8 different county managers over those 8 years, department heads and staff. I'm very familiar with the operational structures of the county. For 8 years, I've either attended or viewed the recordings of every board meeting. I've attended workshops and a board of commissioners. And again, experience is knowledge. Thank you.
Good evening, neighbors and friends. Mine's not on. Good evening, neighbors and friends. I'm Joe Cena, a proud single father of 3 children in Pender County Schools, a local business owner, and a lifelong resident servant of our community. I came here in the 90s to attend UNCW, and I stayed because Pender County is my home. I live it. I'm raising my family here, and I'm deeply invested in every corner of this community. I spent over 20 years in law enforcement, earning my North Carolina highest certifications, including my Master Police Officer, Professional School Resource Officer certifications. Safety in our schools and our neighborhoods has always been my priority. Beyond law enforcement, I've coached youth sports, volunteered with the Rotary Club, served on numerous community boards, including the Tourism Board, the ABC Board, the Juvenile Crime Prevention Board, the Cape Fear Fair and Expo Board, all to make Pender County stronger and safer. I've also taught at Cape Fear Community College, substituted in our schools, and run Team Cena Enterprises. My most recent venture, I've opened a safe and clean nightclub for students at UNCW to come to and enjoy themselves when they're not hitting the books. Interesting enough, it's walking distance from the same campus that I graduated from when I received my bachelor's degree. This is my 3rd run for county commissioner because I'm committed. I know the roads, our schools, and our families' needs. I've fought for small government, traffic relief, school safety, strict building guidelines, and government transparency for decades. The difference between myself and other candidates is really simple. I will continue serving our community, whether paid or unpaid, as I have the last several decades. I will not disappear after the election. I've faced challenges, smear campaigns, setbacks, but I'm still here, ready to fight for every resident of Pender County, east, west, north, and south. I'm running because I love Pender County. I'm invested, experienced, and passionate. I ask for your support so that together we can continue building a safer, stronger, and brighter future for our families. Thank you. God bless Pender County.
Be sure to turn your mic off, and then when it's your turn to speak, turn it on. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Brookie Hardy. I am running for Board of Commissioners District 2. I am fairly new to Pender County. We've been here about 6 years now. We moved here from Raleigh. We raised our family. My husband and I raised our 3 children in Wake County and moved here during the pandemic because we love this area. My husband vacationed here growing up, and we decided long ago that he would eventually move our family to the beach, and that's exactly what we've done. We were very lucky that all 3 of our children have followed us here, so now we have more Hardys in the Pender County area. I have 30 plus years in the financial strategy industry, which means that the residents of Pender County are actually my clients as a commissioner. And what that means for you as a resident is that I will lead with care. I will listen to understand your issues and answer those issues. I will follow through when you have questions, not just let it go and make you follow up with me. I think that's very important for anyone who's in a leadership role within the county, in county government. What I believe in is smart, balanced growth for Pender County, and the growth that reflects the needs of every resident, whether you are a longtime neighbor in Pender County or you're one of the new families that have moved in like myself. I think that over the next few months, what I'll really spend my time on is meeting with you and listening to what you consider an issue and what you would like to raise forward in front of the board, and then together we can plan smart growth that's balanced with balanced spending that benefits everyone in Pender County. So I appreciate your vote. Thanks.
Well, first off, thank you everyone for coming out. My name is Randy Burton. I want to first give all the glory to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to have the physical strength to get here and to serve before you, as I have for the last 40 plus years of my life as a public servant in Pender and New Hanover counties. I'm one of your 5 current county commissioners and currently the board chairman. We've done a lot of great work in Pender County, and I wish to continue that work. I wish this room tonight was in standing room only, but it's not. We need to do our best to get the word out to every citizen in this county. This is a pivotal year. I make no bones about it. Your taxes this year are going to be my number one focus. Your property is being reevaluated, and you're going to get notices within 30 days or so of how much your property has gone up. It's going to be our job, and my job as the leader of that board, to bring everybody together to lower your tax rate so that the check you wrote this year won't be any different than the check you write next year. The government does not need to increase its revenue on the backs of you, the taxpayers, especially since the way we're growing and the industry and the jobs, the infrastructure is coming here. We've got a lot of work left to do. I am not a politician. If you are looking for a politician, I am not him. I'm a 40-year public servant, a medic, a firefighter, and a law enforcement officer of over 38 years here in Pender County and New Hanover County, these 2 counties. My family has been connected to Pender County since the 1800s, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm the father of 3 and the husband of a wife for 27 years. Thank you so much for all your support, and I ask for your vote.
Good evening. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'm Ryan Collins, and I'm running for County Commissioner of District 2. The reason I'm running is I want to restore leadership that serves the people of Pender County. I'm a 20-year Marine Corps veteran, a father of 4, and a husband to a middle school teacher. When I retired out of the military, we needed to find a home, and we are so grateful that we got the blessings of Pender County, and absolutely grateful that you accepted us. And in that gratitude, we looked, how could we do better for this county? What could we give back? And my wife, who's currently as a teacher, it's her service that inspired me, how can I do more? And I looked at the problems we face in this county, the overdevelopment, unsafe roads, spending that is out of control. And I said, I could step up and provide the leadership honed from 20 years of Marine Corps experience, working defense programs that had hundreds of $million budgets, that worked across federal agencies and with foreign nations. I come with the ability to make decisions and under pressure that will get results for this county. I've spent my life in service to America, and when I finally had a chance to choose where I could call home, I'm glad that I called Pender. And I want to do what I can to give back to you, work hard for you, and do everything I can to make sure we fix the problems that we're facing. This is a pivotal year, and we need to get the right change and the right people in there to correct the problems we're facing today. I hope for your support. I hope for your vote. God bless you all, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next couple weeks leading up to March 3rd. Thank you.
First, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. My name's Andy Devon. I am born and raised here. I've called Pender County home and many other places, but this place is definitely special to me. I married my high school sweetheart. We have 2 amazing kids, and I want this to be the best place that it can be. And I do believe with the right leadership, it can be. We have a lot of pivotal issues facing this county, and with the right leadership, we'll be able to make this happen. I am proud to say I've served in the Army. I have earned my Eagle Scout. I currently serve the Public Safety Communications System Administrator for the Sheriff's Office and 911. So when you call 911 and first responders go out, it's because I ensure that the system works for y'all. As a county employee, I see behind the scenes. I know what works and what doesn't. So when a decision is made, it needs the ability to get done. And when things don't get done, we need to make the correct changes. And I hope as the next commissioner for District 3 that I can be that person. Thank you.
Everybody hear me okay back there? My name's David Fallon, also running for District 3. We've lived in Pender County for about 30 years in the same place. Right now I'm in, excuse me, attempting to build a new house. At this point we have 3 kids. We have 6 grandbaby on the way, all of which are within an hour of us, so none of us are going anywhere. So we got to stay where the grandbabies go. I've been self-employed for 29 years in the construction, doing mostly finished work, cabinets, design, selling and installing. So I'm good at creative thinking. I referee high school basketball, been doing that for 33 years. And I referee women's college ball, been doing that for 23 years. So I got a little mileage on me there, so I'm used to being around the schools and sports and giving back. Also, clinic leader for our high school group, so we teach the rules and basically how to be better officials, which also makes you better people. Most referees, best quality type people you ever want to associate with. So it's definitely a good thing to be involved with. One of the reasons we're trying to, obviously, as y'all very well know, the roads are crazy, overdevelopment. These bigger neighborhoods need to be properly done. They need to be slowed down. I'd like to see the developers, cover roads and storm drainage on the front end, not on the back end, and do it properly. Thank you.
Good evening, y'all. Thank y'all for coming out. My name is Max Southworth Beckwith. Yes, that is a mouthful. Blame my parents. But I'm the only Max on the ballot, so make it easy on you that way. I'm running for Pender County because I believe that our county is stronger and when it's led by people who live here, work here, and who listen to the folks they serve. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan, finding IEDs and demolitions expert. After the Marine Corps, I was a military brat, so I jumped around a lot, but after the Marine Corps, I decided I wanted to come to the West Coast, so I had family that lived out of Wilmington area, so decided to make roots down here. Met my wife in 2014, and we moved out here to Curry area on the west side. I'm running for District 4 seat, which represents the west side, but as you all know, this is at-large elections, so you all get to vote everybody, not just the district you live in. So as a commissioner, we're separated by districts, but we're supposed to represent the entirety of the county, which I think is important. I have more than 15 years experience in construction, specializing in federal infrastructure packages using taxpayer-funded money. I've managed $100 million in assets that are taxpayer-funded. I've written paychecks. I've managed the material acquisition. I know how to read a contract. I also have my degree in U.S. constitutional law from U.S. Military Academy, with my basis in U.S. constitutional law. So therefore, I have an understanding of how things are structured in government. I know how to make sure that we adhere to the constitutionality of when we look at legislative issues. I'm also your vice chair of the Board of Adjustment here in Pender County, where we deal with zoning issues that the citizens bring before us. I'm also a community official in that I am the junior vice chair of the VFW in Wilmington, so I still continually give out and give respect to the veteran community. So I hope to have your vote. Thank you.
Well, I'm Jimmy Tate, and I'm your Recycle County Commissioner. I've served for a number of years. I joined the board in 2016 and served I joined in 2007 and served into 2016 until I became vice president of James Front Community College, where I served at over a decade, and then moved into various roles in community college, even became a community college president for a while, until I was approached to take on a position with North Carolina Central University, and where I came back home and worked and started a wonderful organization known at Mount Calvary Center to help young people every day realize that no excuses are allowed, but only opportunities to exist. Before all of that, I'm not here to talk about all of my degrees or board members. I was sitting listening to my colleagues here and how impressed I am on the boards that they have served on and their credentials, but I want to tell you more importantly to look at my voting record. While I've served on the Board of Commissioners, I've been privileged to serve with economic development partners to help us land some really good businesses here in our Commerce Park. I've been really privileged to work on policy and procedures here in our county to move our county forward. I am Pender County. I've lived in the Surf City while I grew up on the farm. I'm back on the farm every day. Don't plan to move ever again. But I certainly know both sides of the county. Having lived on the east for 3 years and back in the west now, I know the issues that our coastal communities face. I know the issues that our farmers face every day. And I want to make sure I do everything possible to make Pender County the best place that you can live too, and that your children can say like I am, they are a native of Pender County. I ask for your vote because I am Pender County. Thank you.
We appreciate your enthusiasm. I'm going to ask you to hold your applause to the end of the evening so that we can get all these great questions asked. So thank you for your cooperation. All right, this is going to be a 2-minute answer. We're going to start with Tim Zizak. Are you in favor of changing the voting districts for commissioners? And if not, why not?
I am not at a point to make a decision on that because it's only been about 10 days since this has been brought up. I think it takes a lot more information. I think it would be best served to entertain this after the election where you could see where people are voting. You have to make decisions on data. You have to look at things. This seemed to be rushed as an agenda item, and I don't believe that anything should be rushed. The process takes years, and the lack of planning and communication with the board with this topic illustrates the lack of communication, even with the staff having to ask questions, what's the desire of the board? That question should never be asked. The staff should be aware of everything that the agenda contains. So again, at this time, I have no comment on that because I don't have the data to look at and make a decision.
Same question? I am absolutely in favor of redistricting here in Pender County. I think the numbers do show. I think the presentation put on during the commissioners meeting showed enough evidence just going off of the population numbers that there is a difference and there is not enough representation equally across our community. Now that vote during that commissioners meeting was not to make the change. It was to start the process, to put together the information, to present to the commission at a later time so that they could make a decision from that point at what options are available. And then obviously they present it to the community. Absolutely, we have to begin this process. I am not in favor of district voting in any way, shape, or form. We are an at-large community. That is the way our local government is set up. We represent the entire community. So I strongly believe that we should take those numbers and divide this community apart. I think we should take our community and divide it equally among ourselves. Currently, we have 2 representatives on the east side of the community, so that puts only 2 votes at the table. We have 3 representatives on the west side of the community, although there is a large difference in population. So when we're doing community issues and voting on community issues, the majority is not getting the majority vote at the table. So I definitely think that we should move forward. Let's put the information together. Yes, gather more information, but we need to start that process sooner than later.
I would have to actually combine those 2 answers in that I do think we should start the process because we don't have enough information yet to make those decisions. I know that there's been several several folks actually have come forward with some great information. In fact, one of our representatives is here from the Young Dems, and he's really working hard on gathering that information for us. So until we have the full understanding of what the makeup is of the districts together, then I don't think we can make a decision, but I do think we should start that process.
Ms. Proctor, would you restate that question? Thank you so much.
What I just told you to do, to hit your mic.
It's all good.
Are you in favor of redistricting, the district voting? And if not, explain. Just give your reasons.
Okay, so for what I'm hearing you saying is redistricting the district voting. So I am not in favor of a county commissioner being voted in by his or her district. We serve over 70,000 people in Pender County. I need to work as hard in Hampstead as I do in Topsail, as I do in Kaintuck or Maple Hill or anywhere in Pender County to earn the support and the vote of every citizen I serve in this county. We don't district taxes. We don't do that to people. I think everybody should be equally represented. What was brought before us the other night was to start a process in the districts as far as population and not in district voting. And I'm all for the state mammographer and other entities bringing us the data to move forward like we're statutorily obliged to do every 10 years. But I do not, and I am not in favor of just campaigning in one district and there's a possibility of a candidate that does not care about any other districts. I care about everybody I serve in this county, every citizen. That's where I'm at. Thank you.
So I think most of this question comes off of the last commissioners meeting, and I think redistricting, first we'll cover that topic. I think that has to be done a little more deliberately and a little more intelligently, all right? Taking 2020 data to redistrict registering districts when you're 2 years from a census doesn't make sense in time and effort, and it's not good leadership or staff work for the people that you're trying to say you serve as a leader. So although in favor that yes, we're going to get to a point that we're going to have to take in the population growth in 2030, and we're going to have to take that to figure out in concert with the neighborhoods, the culture of the community, and come up with the residency districts that are appropriate for that time. But if you're trying to rush something for 6 months, that makes you wonder why there's an agenda to rush it in 6 months. And I think when there's a more prudent, better answer to give 2030 census data. To be honest with you, when it comes to district voting, first, as a candidate, I was like, wow, I have to run the entire county, and I gotta be honest with you, I love it. I've been invited in more places because I have to run in every corner of this county. I've been invited in more homes, and I do feel like we get a better taste of everything, right? I mean, to sit there and say I could do a few square miles of Hampstead and understand Pender, you absolutely cannot. To get this county to represent it, to lead it the way you should, you need to be in all four corners and not just the southeast quadrant of it. So right now I'm starting to learn to love the fact that we are voted by the county. Yeah, one voter gets 4 votes to determine the leaders of this great county. And I'm in favor of it, but I'm not in favor of redistricting and running a train through in 6 months just to try to get it done to meet whatever agenda it has to do by 2028. Thank you.
Well, I'm not opposed to redistricting, but like everybody said, we need smart data to drive this. And in government, we only get one chance to get it right. And I do believe taking the time, waiting for the data, understanding the needs of the community, the growth that's here, the growth that's coming, really does need to be factored into redistricting. And I do believe waiting for the 2030 census data is the smart play. And factoring in the growth that's coming to Rocky Point. I mean, there's over 7,000 homes coming to Rocky Point. With that explosion, you're looking at 14,000 people at a minimum. that would make Rocky Point almost equal to District 1 and District 2. That is just mind-boggling, and we really truly need to factor that in before we make any decision on redistricting. And that's all I got to say.
Redistricting it can be beneficial and not so beneficial. We are county commissioners, not district commissioners. So together, we need to represent the whole county regardless. Now, if you redraw the areas of the districts themselves that represent some population and how many people we can cater to, I mean, we're still catering to the whole county. So even though we represent that area. So we're here for everybody, so not just one area. I think the voting would get a little crazy if we didn't include the whole county. So thank you.
So yeah, I'll put a little perspective in this. So New Hanover County doesn't have districts. So if we didn't have districts, you could have essentially all 5 commissioners from whatever the highest density populated area is. So having districts makes sense because it allows for every part of the county to have equal representation. That being said, I think that it falls in line with constitutionality that our district should be redrawn to associate with the growth. But I also agree that I think that rushing it to try to meet a 28 deadline, I think it makes more sense, like everybody up here is saying for the most part, to wait for that 2030 data. Now, could we maybe have the people in the offices start the process in terms of just getting on their free time, getting maybe some of the documentation lined up and ready to go, so when we do get that 2030 census, we can plug and play? Maybe. But all in all, I'm more in favor of waiting till 2030 to redraw the maps. But that's about it.
Well, I made it very clear at the last commissioner meeting that I'm in favor of the county complying with state and federal law when it comes to our voting acts. But I also believe that you got to have good data to drive that decision. I can't believe that I can make a decision as a commissioner that affect all of you when we haven't even heard from the voters. We haven't had public hearings. We haven't heard from all of you do what you want. And I think sometime in government, that's where we go wrong, is that as commissioners we want to make individual decisions and then move fastly without hearing from the people. I'm from the old school that I believe let's go into communities east to west and hear from you, and then I'll come back and make a decision. My microphone's on.
Yes, I'm for residency districts. Commissioners live in their districts. Yes, I'm for at-large countywide voting. I am not for electoral voting where you only vote inside your districts. As commissioners, we represent all of Pender County and vote for the entirety of Pender County. Yes, I am for redrawing district lines to better represent our population numbers. Here's why. Eastern Pender County has nearly 2/3 of the population and pays approximately 75% of the taxes. This imbalance ensures the status quo, and it needs addressed. Taxation without representation is not a new concept. The when. It needs to be soon, but not now. We do need help from our friends at the University of North Carolina. They have a government center that will give us some good data and research on it. And Raleigh will also help us attain very good data. The county manager is new. He's doing a great job, and he has several big projects. The June budget, it's his first budget that he is doing. The July Pender Fire and EMS merger is going on, and we got 2 new buildings, the Health Human Service Building and the Law Enforcement Building, and many other projects. And he just took over. He's done a phenomenal job. However, let's let him concentrate on those things, and then we'll work on the redistricting issue. That is a great question. Thanks for bringing it up. Thank you.
This next question will start with Mr. Cena. We have several questions here about development. How do you stand on any new residential construction in Pender County?
So this is a question that comes up every election cycle, and every election cycle we're made a lot of empty promises in my eyes as a community member. Our UDO is out of date. It needs to be addressed. We keep hearing about this. We keep hearing it's going to be done. And so we've got the comprehensive 2050 plan coming, but we just saw recently on the east side of our community with the Piver track, the planning board's hands were tied. They made it very clear they did not want to pursue further with the development because adding 355 homes in a high density area just wasn't going to cut it, especially over here on a single lane road. Both the UDO and the new plan that we're going to be adopting state in there that in high density they can do 3 homes per acre. That's just not acceptable. Obviously the east and the west side are different, but I will agree 100% with the gentleman. Rocky Point is about to blow up. Their development is out of control. They will be the next Hampstead if we don't do something to prevent it. There is going to be no overnight fix to this situation, but I do believe we need to start now with motions and seconds and moving forward and challenging some of these decisions. There's a lot of fear, and there's the county manager's office that doesn't want to, is afraid of possibly being sued. Well, I'm sorry, in my opinion, that's what we pay you to do. I would rather you're representing us and making state law and helping us control what's taking place in our community. So absolutely, I've lived on the west side and I live currently on the east side. Development is out of control, and we need to do everything we can to listen to our community members and do everything to stop what's taking place.
I would say that I do think that growth is important, development is important, but it needs to be smart development that is thoughtful and thinking through not just the impacts to 17, which is what we all talk about is 17, but there's also impacts to our water quality, to our wetlands, to our environmental. We're blessed to live in this amazing area, and the more development that's unplanned and unthought through is going to have a negative impact on both our water quality and our environmental surroundings. So I do think that development is important. I think it provides growth opportunity, not just for our citizens that live here, but for those who are moving in. I think that it's a great place to live, and it is important. However, we do need to be a little bit more careful and thoughtful about what we are planning and developing.
This is a question that we get a lot, and I'll try to be as simple-minded about it as I can. Development is organic. Development is going to happen. It's our role as county commissioners to try to help steer the ship in the right way, in the smart way, for what does make it to our desk and our agenda. There's a lot of development that does not make it to the county commissioner's agenda. A lot of people do not know that. There's something called property rights in the United States of America. If you own property and under certain laws, you can develop and improve your property without the government telling you what you can do. I am a firm property rights advocate, but I'm also one to lend a hand to reach out to a potential developer or builder to say, hey, we know you can do certain things by right, but why not take into account the citizens who are going to live here? Let's save some trees. Let's do this. Let's put a park. How about work with us on a school, a fire station, or something like that? We have to have more tools in our toolbox than just a hammer. There's a lot of folks in a political season that will tell you they're going to do a lot of things that they know in their mind they cannot do. I will never tell you or promise you something that I know I can't do. But I will work hard for you every day. I drive in this traffic. I know. I live over here. But we need to come about this in a right way, and we don't need to lie. I hate to use that word, but we don't need to talk about mistruths to people. We need to tell people the truth and what we can do. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a problem, and you see it every day, right? We have an overdevelopment problem. We've had it for years. We've had it for the last 2 years. The ship needs to get put in the right direction. I think we need to get the change in there to make that happen. You see it on the roads. It's not just a road issue. It's a safety issue. It's a school crowding issue. And I think yeah, you're right. People have property rights. They do. But you can't damage your neighbor. You can't put harm to your neighbor. And what I'm saying is, as commissioners, why don't we go out and talk to these developers and say, hey, you need to treat us as neighbors and don't treat us as a piggy bank. We have things we can do. You need to respect existing neighborhoods. If you're moving into Rocky Point, you can't just go in and if there has been a farm or a hunting club or some other thing that has a traditional place there, we put it on the new developer to put in the considerations to protect the tradition of this community, right? We need to sit there and say to the developer, we want to work with you, but we also expect you to work with us. We expect you to develop responsibly. We expect you to bear the burden of infrastructure. We expect you to share in what makes this community great. So as commissioners, there's a lot of things that commissioners can't do, but there's a lot of things we can do. And if we force safety regulations, we force the proper ordinances, and we make sure that those developers treat us as neighbors, we can turn the ship that's going in the wrong direction into the right direction. Thank you.
Yes. Let's get this right. Growth is here, growth is happening, and growth is coming. We see what happens when growth is uncontrolled. We deal with it on a daily basis when we drive down 17, drive down 210. Growth is also coming to Rocky Point. We have the ability to get it right. Where we failed in Hampstead, we can get it right in Rocky Point. But it's also going to take the bandwidth and the ability with staff to get this done. If we can't get it worked within the staff to get this done, we're going to repeat the same mistakes that has happened. We need to work with our local and state partners to ensure that we can address the issues that are coming and that are here. We need the ability to govern this local community in a manner that protects the future for our kids. At the end of the day, it's about the kids and the future that we leave them. Thank you.
With this growth, like I said earlier, it needs to be properly done. The bigger developers are coming in and buying up these chunks of land. Obviously, it was somebody's farmland at some point, and for whatever reason, somebody had to sell out. By the time we see all that, it's already happened. But where we can benefit or help is to get with the zoning and the planning committees and try to slow some of this down, spread it out, not allow the density, allow for storm runoff, put in place the infrastructure, the roads egress, to allow room for proper growth. But growth is going to happen. It's just how we control it. So it definitely needs to be managed better. But again, getting with the right committees and departments to make sure it gets done right. Thanks.
So growth is here, as everyone you've heard up here talk about. It's here. It's coming. But how do you regulate it? Unfortunately, there's a couple of things that have happened over the last decade that handcuff what county commissioners can and can't do. We can't do impact fees. We can't downzone. There's a lot of things we can't do that handcuffs county commissioners. Now, I want to do some group participation. Let's do that. Raise your hand if you've heard of voluntary ag districts or enhanced voluntary ag districts. Raise your hand. All right, a few. Currently, we follow the general statute of 10-5-20. That's 10 for farmland, 5 for horticulture, and 20 for hunting land. Did you know that county commissioners can decrease the requirements without having to go to Raleigh? That's something that our two board members here could put on the docket for the next month or two, over the next month or two, and have it voted on to where we could mirror what Brunswick County does. What this does is if you reduce the requirements, it allows smaller farms and homesteads and RA zoned areas that aren't allowed to be in those protected areas can be added into it. What Brunswick County does is for the enhanced voluntary ag districts, what they do is they say, all right, 10-acre lots, or if you have 5 neighbors next to you and you all got 3 acres, 2 acres, whatever, as long as you cumulatively are greater than 10 acres, then you as a community can be zoned in enhanced agricultural districts. In the EVADs, you put a 10-year moratorium or a conservancy saying that you're not going to develop this land for heavy development builders or anything like that. Or you can put it in perpetuity, however you want to do it. What that does is it gives you protections against builders coming in and buying up the land next to you. It requires that builders put a 150 buffer between you and your easement. It doesn't eat up your farmland. It protects you from that 10-foot little buffer you get in regular zoning. So these are things that county commissioners could do next meeting, but I'm the only one that I've heard in the past 4 years bring anything such discussions up. So there's that.
Well, I have to say that's interesting because I met with members of the Voluntary Ag District on yesterday, and we have a meeting scheduled at Pender School with the farmers, and I think that's on March the 5th, that meeting is, to discuss the Enhanced Voluntary Ag District. So that meeting is already planned. Thank you so much. But at any rate, tonight, I want to go back to the question. My vote on development is we got to do something with the infrastructure. None of us expected Hampstead to the overcrowded issues that we receive. But we also look at other areas of the county. Rocky Point's one where I'm from in Willard. For years, there was no growth. But in the community I'm at, we got about 800 houses coming. I didn't vote on it. I wasn't there during that time. And I also want to say something. This board has been very intentional and clear where we stand when it comes to development. We have not voted on any development projects or approved any since I've been on the board of commissioners and been back on the board. There's been several projects coming for us, but our board has not approved those projects, to my knowledge. And so just as the night that I was here in this meeting and I heard from the people here tonight about the powerful track, and I asked the board that night, can we explore all options possible to temporarily put a hold on any development? We want to do everything we can. And I'm not making you false promises. And it's easy during campaign to make a lot of promises. But again, I would refer you to go back to my records and go back to my comments in the meeting, because that's where it stands.
We all love Pender County. That's why we live here. Unchecked growth is the problem. I commit to not vote in favor of a density increase. If I ever do, it has to be somehow a huge benefit to Pender County. It has to be safe. Well, I'm talking about the first responders, the Piver tract, emergency vehicles, etc. The infrastructure in schools have to support it. For example, Topsail High School is over capacity by 500 students, last checked. By right, we need to work with those property owners while following our North Carolina Constitution. By controlling infrastructure, i.e. our utilities, we can control the growth. We need more conservation, more green space, game lands. Pender County needs to purchase more lands via grants, private grants, state grants, federal grants. We need to enforce full system development fees. What I'm talking about is water, sewer per house, kind of like an impact fee 2.0. Yes, I understand North Carolina doesn't have an impact fee. We need to continue to put our best talent in our Pender County government and our planning board. At the end of the day, we need to follow our North Carolina Constitution. And if we don't like the sandbox that we have to play in, we need to work with our friends in Raleigh. There's one sitting in our audience, and I commit to you that I will work with him to get this done, to get the laws changed so that will benefit Pender County, infrastructure and growth and development issues we have. Thank you.
The region is growing. It's not just Pender County. Leland, I listened to the DOT meeting the other day. Everyone's having the same issues. My question is, why are we in this situation? It just didn't happen overnight. We knew 2,000 people moved here 4 years ago. My concern is the current board has nothing on the table to address it. So even if you start addressing it now, what are we going to do in the meantime? We have to change the ordinances. We have to see what we are limited to do and do it. As of now, we're not addressing it. I have not seen anything to address the growth. We can't control the growth. We have to manage it. And in order to manage it, you have to be a forward thinker and anticipate what's coming down the road. I can't believe that we didn't know that we were going to have thousands of people moving here. It's not like it was a turnkey overnight thing. This is a progression. There's more coming. We have to address it. The problem is we're behind, way behind. So we can't control what is on the table now, but we need to start controlling what's coming in the future. And we need to find all the resources we can so we're managing it because it's our community. But we are limited. There are certain state, as stated, there's certain state statutes that we have to follow. But there are opportunities to look at different things. I don't use the word can't. I'm a problem solver. Let's solve this problem. It's not going to get any better. Thank you.
All right. We'll start with Ms. Hardy on this question. What do you know about the Wilmington Metropolitan Planning Organization? And as a commissioner elected, would you work with them in the planning development of the, especially the traffic issues here?
Well, no, I do not. So that will be a very quick answer. But yes, I would work with the appropriate partners across county lines and across cities to make sure that we continue to not control the traffic, because that's not possible, but at least to be able to build a stronger infrastructure.
Well, thank you for the question, Ms. Proctor. Yeah, the Wilmington Metropolitan Planning Organization Board is representative. We do have one representative. One of our commissioners sits on that board in Wilmington, and I happened to attend one of those meetings just yesterday at 3 p.m. I think we need some more input from citizens on that board. We did have several citizens attend that meeting yesterday to voice their concerns. That board sets the tone and the balance for Brunswick, New Hanover, and Pender County in the future forethoughts for the Department of Transportation in their planning for infrastructure. One thing that caught my mind yesterday is we're the second fastest growing county in the state, but we're not prioritized in the DOT's realm of thinking as the second fastest growing. So therefore, I think that us as a commission moving forward, along with the WMPO and additional representation there through our citizen advocates, can put a little more pressure, and working through Representative Smith's office, Senator Lee, Senator Jackson's office can put a little more pressure on the governor and the Department of Transportation and the Secretary of DOT to help prioritize us and move us along. Everybody that drives the roads here in Pender County, and not just on 17, it's on 117 in Rocky Point also. Mm-hmm. That traffic's backed up too. Mm-hmm. I think we need to be a little higher on the tier level on future projects. The bypass is great. It's 25 years behind, but it's great. That's fine. Let's start planning on making 17 instead of 4 lanes, 8 lanes. How about that? Or let's widen it. Let's do some things. Let's have that forward thinking and progress. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll work with anybody, whether it's the WMPO, NCDOT. We have to get people in front of these organizations and whoever we need to improve our road situation. We absolutely know traffic's abysmal. And we know it's been for years, and it's been for the last 4, especially the last 2. And so to be forward-thinking, we weren't forward-thinking 2 years ago. So what's going to change unless we change who sits in the seats, right? So what I'm here to tell you is that I will go up and I will work with anybody, then the agency. Let's get our priority up. But we're not going to get the priority up if we didn't do it the last 2 years. How are we going to get it up in the next 4? We do it with the change in leadership. Leadership that goes to these people, fights for you, stands in front of who they must to make sure we get this done. Look, Pender County has grown. We've said this 100 times tonight. You probably have hit it on your bingo card every single time. But we have to have somebody who's got a past experience of planning, someone who knows how to tackle big problems, and I will sit there and make sure that the roads 421, 117, 17, all of them are addressed, and we do what we can to accelerate them to get encompassing the development that we're going to be facing of next year. And I think the only way we get after that is if we get leadership in there that's going to get it done and not say they're going to get it done the next time.
So to answer that question, yes, I have heard of the WMPO, and I do think it's a great organization, and it should be helping us prioritize our needs when it comes to road infrastructure. But we also need to work with the DOT. We also need to work with our state and our state partners. We do have issues with traffic. I don't know if anybody's seen, but the proposed roundabout at 210 and Island Creek Road is going to destroy traffic if the bypass is not complete. Nobody knows when this project's going to start, but when it does, it will impact Cross Creek, it will impact Avondale, it will impact everybody traveling down 210 to get to Wilmington, and that's bypassing 17. With the school that's getting built there, it's only going to make situations worse. We need to have a positive solution when dealing with roads in this county. The growth that's happening in Rocky Point is going to create the same problems we see in Hampstead. We have the ability to get it right now, so let's work with the state, let's work with our local partners, and come up with solutions that actually make sense. Thank you.
Yes, to answer the question, working with committees is a big part of the planning. And again, it all goes back to planning far enough ahead to allow for this growth and the things that are going to take place. A lot of hitting committees and to resolve issues now doesn't fix the problem. It just delays it. So we need to do a better job with, again, zoning, planning committees to plan far enough out in the future to allow for the growth. Acquire property when you can where roads could be or schools would be, so that we're ready to build and grow and develop when need be. Thanks.
To answer the question, yes, I know the organization. I also agree with what the other candidates have said about we need to work with our state official, our state partners, we need to work with DOT. But I think having someone who's handled large-scale infrastructure packages, and there's a couple of us up here that meet that criteria, to be able to go to that board and be able to have a general good cognitive understanding of what's going on and be able to fight for Pender County, because, like I said, we're the second fastest growing county, but our needs seem to be put on the back end. I think having someone with that knowledge and the ability to go in there and be a little bit of a bulldog to get what we need is what we need. So.
I think the WMPO does a really good job for Pender. I'm very proud that back in 2007 or 8, we voted on that to join that organization. One of the icon leaders of this community by the name of Al Frymark came before our board and was a strong advocate for us joining that. I think Mike and his team has done a really good job. I was in conversation with Mike on Friday. I see one of his former employees in the audience tonight. And I do believe that they have a lot of value in what they can do. I think what we need to do in Pender County is have more seats added to that table. If you look at it, they decide on a lot of federal funding that comes through, a lot of those dollars, and I just believe that Pender County do not have enough representation. It's New Hanover County composed, the city of Wilmington composed. We got to have more people at the table, so when our commissioners do go there, there's more than one voice that they're hearing from Pender County.
Yes, I have heard of the WMPO. As stated before, Commissioner George is the commissioner that is on the WMPO board. They are currently running a study right now. I highly encourage all of you to partake in that study, to get your input with all of your concerns throughout Pender County. For example, stoplight is going to be put in by the DOT at the intersection of Sloop Point Loop, Eastern, and Pelican Reef. We can speed up that study if you all put your concerns in there. Tragically, about 2 months ago, there was a life lost. And I think that could just be the catalyst to get that light put in a little bit earlier. We all know traffic is awful here. We all know that DOT controls all the public roads in North Carolina. I will work with the WMPO, the DOT, and Raleigh. Bypass, as you heard, it's well past due. 2028 is the due date on the first part, and 2030 is the final revision, so long as there are no impacts for delays. We need to continue to control the unchecked growth. I look forward to the results of the 210 widening study, especially with the new K through 8 school going in there, etc. Thank you very much.
I am very familiar with this organization. I began working with them when the bypass was started. I was at the groundbreaking of the bypass. Tammy was there. What it is it's a connection to NCDOT. And I would like to know if our representative has goals for this committee, because I didn't see any goals. The people that attended that meeting were told to go back to your local government and have them approach us through our representative. That's the way this committee operates. There are connection to DOT. The W in the abbreviation stands for Wilmington. Their biggest project right now, and they work years ahead, is the bridge. So we're trying to obtain funding from NCO-DOT through this committee. I, as a commissioner of Topsail Beach, we met with NCO-DOT. The district engineer met with us yearly. We gave them our priorities. We worked with them. I don't know if we have a connection with the DOT, a personal connection with the DOT, with the Division III engineer who runs our division. Chad was very helpful with us, and I had a great relationship with him. Again, we have to stop playing catch up and start looking forward and working with these agencies, knowing what we need. We all know what we need. We just have to address it, prioritize, and have goals, and go after it. We can't play catch up. When you're catching up, we're falling behind. We're competing with this district's funding from the state. Everyone in this district is going after those funds. We have to take a side door and go directly to the division engineer. Thank you.
The WMPO meets the last Wednesday of every month, 3 o'clock in Wilmington, downtown, 525 North 4th Street. Did anybody in here really know that? A couple people, handful. One of our biggest problems with most committees and most boards, we as a community don't know about them. We're not advised about them. We don't know that they have public forums that you can speak at. I spoke at the meeting this past Wednesday about concerns. What frustrated me the most about that, like the gentleman to my right said, a community member spoke and was challenged by a board member. A mayor pro tem out of Wilmington challenged that community member as to her conversation. Why don't you go to your local officials? Well, what are my local officials going to do about DOT roads? It's the DOT, it's their job. We can go to them, we can ask for things, but our local commissioners, they can only do so much when it comes to roads, guys. Mr. Tate, 100% correct. We have one seat on that board. What can you do on that board with only one seat when the room is full of representatives from other counties? I want to know why we don't have our municipalities represented. Why does Burgall, Topsail, South Topsail, Surfsea, why don't they have seats on that board to offer votes and conversations at the table? Because when you take the budget that they've admitted, because the budget made me sick in my stomach, Pender County had almost single digits. It was disgusting when you compared it to the other counties with what they were receiving in funding compared to us. So again, very important organization. Absolutely, we are underrepresented in that organization. I think it comes back to communication. Our current board is doing a great job. We got some new apps out there that are throwing out more information to us on the boards and where they meet and how they meet. As a community, we just need that information so we can get more involved. Absolutely just a tough situation that I know the board would like to do more, and myself, I'm going to push hard to make them do more for us.
All right, with this question, we'll start with Mr. Burton. Would you commit to adding a dedicated stormwater civil engineer to the planning staff to review and evaluate master's plans submitted by developers?
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you for the question. So currently, our planning staff contracts with a civil engineer to look over stormwater plans. That will be a good question for the county manager to see if he wants a full-time engineer to do that on county staff. That will add an additional employee to county staff. And you have to look at the cost-benefit analysis to that. You're going to add a salary, you're going to add benefits from retirement and insurance and so forth, whereas right now we're just contracting with a civil engineer to look at those stormwater plans. When the overall purview of stormwater falls under the DEQ of North Carolina, that's like adding an engineer for roadways for the county level when it falls under the NCDOT. So right now, the DEQ is responsible for our stormwater. But at the state of, unfortunately, at the speed of state government, things sometimes are pushed to the wayside for our county. That's why we have to engage and contract a civil engineer to look through stormwater plans to help folks to succeed in their plans for the future when they want to develop their property. We're not in the business to help folks fail at their plans. We want to help folks succeed, and we want to work with them if we can. But I appreciate the question. It's just one of those things where if it would benefit the county to hire someone full-time, or if we continue the route and we contract it and get the same analysis and not have all that added burden of expense. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the current contracting situation is adequate for the price. So, I mean, an additional employee I don't believe is necessary. I think what we need to make sure, though, is as development continues, not only stormwater, but drainage, wetlands, all those things have to be taken in consideration. One of the biggest things that's going to come up is, hey, we get a big storm again. What happens with all that flood water when we're building in areas that the developers are removing it, they're not doing proper drainage, all of that? How are we getting about that to protect all of you, make sure that we don't run into flooding situations? What are we going to do to help make sure that your flood insurance stays down? So I think having anybody there advising, making sure that any developer has to take into account how they properly deal with this issue to keep down our insurance, to keep down the safety concerns, and if we ever have another hurricane issue, that we are well prepared for it. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes. So I do believe the current situation is acceptable as of right now, but as the county continues to grow, I do believe we do need to look at that as a possibility. Having somebody on staff with knowledge now could help us in the future. But at the end of the day, I do think the current system that we have is sufficient for the needs right now. Thank you.
I believe having a contractor engineer for this is, at this point, would be more cost effective as far as time and salaries and how that goes. And if it got to where it exceeded that and had to bring somebody in, whichever one was more cost effective would be the way to go. Let that liability be on the individual, the planning company for it. Thanks.
Yeah, I agree. I think the current, what we have is fine. We have to do a cost benefit analysis on if it's worth bringing that in-house or not. Like Mr. Fallon just mentioned, you got to look at the E&O of the liability on if it was a county employee, if they mess up, then it's on the county, versus if it's a contractor, then it falls under their E&O insurance. So, as the county gets bigger, maybe, but once again, if anything, I'd say we just need to make sure that the cost of what you're paying the contractor fits within the budget, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I absolutely think that we need to have our own stormwater engineer. I think that this county has experienced flooding. And I think that the cost savings would be substantial for the county. And if you look at what happened in 2018, I was one of those individuals who had a house, had 6 feet of water in it, living outside of this area at the time. But I also know what happens to when you have flooding. We saw at Cross Creek when those folks lost all of their property there because of flooding. When we look at erosion that happened, our farmers are losing their farmland because of that. And I'm going to sit here and stop $60,000 when we have a budget at the size that we do and not fund that, and people are losing their houses. Absolutely. In fact, I'll defend that win or lose at the upcoming budget meeting.
I'm absolutely not against it. I would defer to the county manager's office to look into this issue, to propose us a plan, but it has to be fiscally sound. You know, full-time employee versus contract. But overall, I'm not against it. But I'm in the business of saving the taxpayers' money. But it has to benefit the entirety of the Pender County residents.
I believe we should always consider additional resources. DEQ regulates the infrastructure. The planners for stormwater should follow the channels to request additional resources if needed. Again, I appreciate the inquiry, but it's up to the people who plan the stormwater plan to decide if they need the extra additional resource.
In my eyes, anytime you can hire in-house and have somebody in-house at your disposal, it's always a better situation. I cannot imagine that we didn't spend more than $60,000 last year on bringing in the consultants or contracts. Depending on obviously what a price would cost for someone in that position, I don't have that knowledge. I'd have to ask the county manager's office to put that together. We have to respect our department heads and get feedback from them and see how they feel. But I will agree, what we're doing right now, I don't think is working. If you go over to the new bypass near Transfer Station Road, we've got 8 houses in the woods there that every time it rains hard, they become waterfront property. They didn't ask for that, but it happens. We know what happened to Cross Creek, like Mr. Tate said. I spent 3 weeks out there on my John boat pulling people and things out of their houses because of what happened. So somewhere along the line, we're not doing what we need to do to protect our community. So if it means going in-house and hiring somebody who's on call, absolutely, we need to look at that avenue and explore every avenue on the table. That's something I don't have a lot of knowledge on, dealing with stormwater, but I'd absolutely seek the right resources to pursue that. I'm glad this question was asked because it's something that does need to be addressed.
I do agree that an in-house resource would actually be more beneficial, because when you think about the cost savings, yes, a contractor is cheaper because you don't have insurance, you don't have to pay them you're paying them for the hours that they actually work versus a full-time employee. However, long-term, it is cheaper to hire someone, get them trained, get them familiar with the area for a longer term perspective than having to get a contractor in and to teach them over and over and over again. So I do think long term, having someone in-house would be more cost efficient.
I did it again. This is why they don't let me out much. This is the last question regarding development. And this is just a simple yes or no, and they're almost identical here. Have you taken campaign money for your candidacy from developers?
No.
No.
Definitely no.
That'd be an absolutely no.
I've had folks contribute to my campaign from construction to background to farmers to all walks of life of people.
Not out of this time.
I would never, ever. Thank you.
At this moment, I'm self-funded, and I will stay self-funded as long as I can. I have never, in any of my previous elections, took money from any builder, real estate agent, mortgage broker, or anyone that has a say in what happens in our community. And if someone were to come to me, I'll politely turn it away. Because unfortunately, I don't think they should have a right to donate to people who are going to make decisions in their favor. We have to, at some point, put an end to the madness. And we have to step up and be vocal about it, because it has to stop. How can a builder who doesn't live in our community make maximum donations, his wife make maximum donations, and they don't even live in Pender County? And that's acceptable? Absolutely not. Not in my eyes, not in my family's eyes, or anyone I've spoken to's eyes. So the answer is no.
No, I have not.
I'm going to echo the sentiments of Dr. Tate and echo the sentiments of our Secretary of State. This does not require yes or no answers. It's not a game show. I ran a campaign in the past and spent my own money and took no campaign donations from anyone. And I spent almost $30,000 of my own money and retired doing it. I take campaign donations for those who have the same like-minded vision, mission, and values that I do, but I do not vote or lean toward anyone that gives me a campaign donation. Just because they donate to a campaign for an ad or to buy some signs or something like that, that's fine, and that's on them, and this is America. And I think if you were to ask most folks in elected office for state, local, and federal government, they take campaign donations from a wide variety of Americans. Thanks.
So this next question, we'll start with Andy Devane. How would you intend, if elected, to communicate with your constituents?
Well, as of right now, I think we have multiple apps to get out information, which I do believe can be quite cumbersome. I do believe we do need to focus on one and make it prevalent. One voice. I think the commissioners, whoever gets elected, needs to be able to speak to the constituents, be able to relay messages, whether it's through social media or through the app. I do believe the commissioners need to speak to the constituents to relay what's going on in this county. Thanks.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, one of the commissioner meetings, they discussed the communication with the websites or where you can call in and look up the information of things going on in the county. I would love to be as transparent as possible and things that come up that get information out to the county that see how you would like for us to vote on things and carry them out. So the transparency on the front end, I would love to see more often. And social media is huge on that, and I'm still learning that as hard as I can go right now. So I've never been real big on it, even though I've got a computer degree, but that was back a ways, so it was before all this stuff came out. But yeah, it is, the social media is growing more and more all the time, and it's a good way to get information out there for others to be included. Thanks.
So I think the communications out there doing at the county is a good idea. I think social media is a good idea. I don't make a lot of promises. One promise that I did make when I started this campaign is that I believe going back to our roots. And one of the things that I'm going to do in my district, just because it's convenient, is I do plan on holding old-fashioned town halls at least once a month, because I think it's important for people to actually have face-to-face contact with their commissioners more than the 3 minutes twice a month that you get at commissioner meetings when you step to that podium. So
I believe that we engage with our constituents all the time, whether that's in our churches, our communities, town halls. When I became a commissioner this time, within the first 30 days, we had a town hall meeting in one of the communities, and we went to another community, and we went to another community. And I wanted to make sure that I hear from people east to west. While technology is good, I think it's really great and inviting for folks for us to go out in the communities and hear from people on all sides of the county. So, for example, on this week, I think it was on Tuesday, I met with farmers that morning, and that evening I was here on the beach side meeting with folk. And so I think it's important us to do that. The great thing about me, I also look at, after 28 years of working in with the public sector, this upcoming year I look at retiring from one of my roles that I love dearly, but that's going to give me even more time to now work and go into communities and meet with people consistently and even more time.
I don't like social media. I'm not a fan of Facebook, okay? I believe there should be some sort of program, official program of media for Pender County, if that's how they want us to talk to the residents of Pender County. I like face-to-face, all right? When I'm out and about, I like meeting people, shaking hands, talking to people. I encourage people to come up and ask me questions, challenge me. Like, God bless Charlie Kirk and his family, but I loved the way that he did things. If you don't agree with me, or you would like to ask me a question or whatnot, come to the front row, challenge me, ask me, right? Facebook's an ugly thing, and the comment section goes out of control, and I could say something in one way and it could be interpreted 10 different ways in Facebook, okay? Or in a text message or even an email. It's very, very dangerous, and I try to stay away from that, okay? So I love face-to-face. I'm just here to tell you. So if town halls merit that, or meetings, or coffee shop or whatever, meet me in the grocery store and you see me, you got something on your mind, please come up and tell me. Because I like to meet the residents and know what's important to them. That's how I'd like to communicate.
I will continue to communicate like I have in the past, communicating, messaging, and being transparent. I always answer emails and I always answer phone calls. Community engagement is very important. I'm an elected county commissioner, not a district commissioner. I will continue coffee with the commissioner all around the county like I did at Topsail Beach. I will establish office hours in this building and in Burgaw if people want to come and personally talk to me. Social media, this is our world now. You have to be on social media. I will message and communicate and be transparent on social media as well.
It's great to get to questions towards the end because you get new ideas as it goes down the line. So communication, as I stated, I think in my first question, I think I talked a little bit about communication, but that is an endless battle. How do we appropriately communicate with everyone when everyone in different parts of our community come from different lifestyles? Social media is a large part, but there's so many platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, so many of them. And then you get into, some people just want a postcard. Some people want a phone call, a text message. Everyone is different. And that's where we have to explore all of those. We can't just settle on one way. Yeah, face-to-face is great. That's the easiest way to talk to somebody, and they don't take it in the wrong context. Coffee, great idea. All of these are fantastic ideas that we have to put together to get the message out to the community. 70,000 citizens, this room's half full. Did we get the message out appropriately? We were having a meeting tonight. That's a question we have to ask ourselves. There's so many avenues. Our county employees, recently did a presentation with all these new apps. I think that's a step in the right direction. They're exploring a new avenue to attract new people to come in here. My kids can take this phone and do things I didn't know it could do, but that's the new generation. That's how we have to get to the younger voters to get them more involved and participating in our community. So, fantastic question, and I think that's one of those loaded questions that there's no right answer. We have to take everything, put it together, pass it down to our county employees, and let them run with it.
A huge part of my job has always been around client communication. So I have a lot of experience in how to meet people and meet residents, in my case in banking, and meet my clients where they are. With you all being our clients, we do need to meet you where you are. Do you like a postcard? Do you like social media? A lot of people do. I love talking to people, but I'm better one-on-one than in a group, in a big setting like this. However, some people like this type of form, and they feel better. This is how they like to receive information. So I do think it's really up to you all, and I would agree that having a variety of ways to communicate with our residents is probably the most important and most impactful way to deliver communication.
I think it's a great question. In the past year and a half that I've been a member of the board, I think our county has strived and we've come leaps and bounds in the communication efforts. Our communications manager, Ms. Cobb, is even present in this meeting tonight. She works tirelessly on different platforms and different efforts to put information to the citizens that we serve. Luckily, each and every commissioner that's elected to the Pender County Board of Commissioners gets their own email address and their own telephone. I hate carrying two telephones. I give a lot of folks my personal cell phone number. If you call me, I will answer the phone. And if I don't answer, I'm talking with someone else and I'll call you back. It's imperative that our commissioners return calls and emails to our constituents. They want to hear from us sometimes. They don't want to hear from an employee somewhere, and they want to call us or email us directly. And I think that's a great thing. And technology affords us the ability to have a timely response to those folks.
That's the one great thing about campaigning is you start learning how much outreach matters, right? And it's one of the things I've had to learn rapidly, and I've had some great advisors and some potential voters who have definitely called it to my attention that I need to be on top of that. Obviously, social media is one of the ways of touching everybody. Email addresses, phone numbers, all that, those will all be available to make sure the constituents understands. But not only is it about our ability to outreach and our consistency on the digital media, but it's also in person. And when we're in front of the people who elected us, how we treat them, the tone and tenor we have when we're in front of them. One of the reasons I'm here is sitting in town halls watching leadership not present, watching leadership when they're questioned be dismissive, combative, watching people in Board of Commission meetings insult their residents. That's not how you stay connected with your voters. Look, we're a customer service industry up here. We work for you. You don't have to agree with me, and you probably won't at many times, and not everybody has the same political affiliation, but you are a respected person who walks in front of me. As we took your questions tonight, we have been nothing more than respectful, and that's how it always should be. So if there are town halls, if I am in front of you, I guarantee you that I will treat you with the respect and the dignity you deserve, because I am here to be a leader that serves you and wants to reach out with you with that same dignity and not sit there and fight you every question that you have because it's convenient and because I think I can. That's not leadership, that's a politician. And I promise to be your leader. Thank you.
This next question, we'll start with Mr. Fallon. And there's two, and they're very similar, so I'm just going to paraphrase. Pender County has dealt with some funding scandals with through the banking and finance, a playground problem of taken down playground equipment, and there's other issues that the county has faced. Do you have any idea that you could share with us on how to solve those problems? I know it's a loaded question. I'm sorry. It's two loaded questions.
There's a lot there that I probably should or should not discuss. Within the county, there needs to be enough accounts and balances where we are accountable to each other, and there is more than one or say two of us that would be involved in things taking place. I'm not sure how the whole banking thing came around like that, but that's behind the scenes. There's still things going on, but there's a lot of things I probably shouldn't discuss, and I'll leave it at that.
I know that I think our finance director, Meg Blue, I think she's started implementing some countermeasures, some new countermeasures and updates due to the $600,000 fraud that's currently ongoing investigation. So I think that's one avenue, but I also think accountability is a big part of that as well. When you're sworn into office or when you're holding a position in a county governance, it's not just you agree to follow the law, you also have a moral and ethics clause you have to follow as well. And I think that we need to make sure that everyone's following those policies and those procedures. And if someone steps out of line of that, then they need to be addressed and the issue needs to be handled accordingly and appropriately. Now, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, that's just how I am in terms of, I believe in accountability and transparency. But I think that being transparent with the people about how things happen. I like the fact that the commissioners came out once they figured out that they lost the money, or they didn't lose the money, it got stolen, let me rephrase. They came out and let the public know. They formed an investigation. I think that was good transparency on their part. So I give credit where credit's due on that front. But yeah.
I would think that you can always make processes better. And in the 8 months I've been back, when these issues come to our attention, I think the county has moved very proactively. When we found out about the $650,000, we went immediately into meetings and several discussions and called in the county sheriff, called into the SBI, called in the state auditor office. I think the Pender County has did everything it possibly can with this type of cyber attack. All of us know in this age, these things happen. We want to prevent it and make sure it doesn't happen again. And I can tell you we're much stronger today because of what happened. And I'm very confident, I do believe we're going to recover those funds back. But also because that's an ongoing investigation, there are certain things I can't say about that as well. But I can say, as one commissioner, along with I'm sure our other colleagues, we're going to be looking at that issue very seriously. We already are. We're letting the investigators do their work, and we're going to move accordingly.
We need to have accountability. We need to have full transparency. We need to investigate all of it. It's unacceptable to the residents of Pender County. We need to be absolutely careful with every single dollar that we spend, okay? And as I understand it, everything is being investigated. I am not on the inside. I have no idea what's going on other than what was reported by the county manager's office as far as the banking issue, as far as the playground issue that was, 1 week ago, brand new. That's being investigated. So I can't comment on those things because I do not know, and the investigation is not complete. It would be improper for me to comment on something that I don't know the facts on. But here's what I tell you. I believe in full accountability and transparency, and most importantly, if there is anything sideways, I will hold those individuals at fault fully accountable. And we will learn from every mistake that we have, and we will put procedures in place to make sure it never happens again. Thank you.
Pender County is an organization. It needs to operate like an organization. The ACH issues was a result of an outdated policy. There were no checks and balances that there needed to be in today's time. That should trigger a review of all policies. IT is a problem. At Topsail Beach, we were getting hit for people trying to get into our system. Topsail Beach, The reason why we're .gov is so we have federal protection when these things happen. If you're .org, you don't have those protections. Working in the public sector for a publicly traded company, we had meetings every month about getting hacked and how to prevent it. Every month. This is something that needs to be done. This is the world we live in. There should be training, IT training, to prevent things like this from happening. Even at Topsail Beach, we had to take a test every month with new items that people were trying to use to enter into our systems. This just has to be addressed. This was eye-opening. Thankfully, we have .gov and we're protected by the federal government. We have agencies to protect us. So I'm confident that we'll get reimbursed. But IT costs will continue to grow for this particular reason, security. It's IT security, just like you have it at home. Malware and everything else on your home computer. Pender County governments are a target because we don't train our people.
So that's definitely a very loaded question. It's two totally different topics, two different ways to go. So when it comes to the banking part, I have no right to comment on that. I don't work for Pender County. I wasn't part of that. The investigation is still ongoing. I appreciate the commissioner stating what he did state, because obviously they can't give information. And I do believe that they'll find out who did it, and we will come out stronger because they will implement better checks and balances to put in place. Whether it's, there's got to be 3 signatures from 3 different department heads before, we allow certain changes. This is where you do a policy overview and we grow from it. And I have full faith that Pender County will fix those problems, and they'll go public. They'll let every one of us in this community know what took place, how it took place, and how we're going to address it moving forward. I don't in any way think that they're not going to do that for us. When it comes to the playground equipment, if you're asking me if I think that tax-paid, citizen-paid for property shouldn't be given back to the community, that's insane. Because we in this room, our taxes paid for it. If those items are being loaded into a dump trailer to go to the dump, I would much rather they go to the community who's willing to take liability for it and repurpose it. My kids played on that playground for the last decade. I played on that playground for the last decade. I have photos of us on that playground. That playground was in great shape. For whatever reason, they deemed it not to be, and they wanted to demo it. There were a lot of good pieces in there, and some of those pieces were taken by a community to be repurposed. Fantastic. Now we have I think it's $280,000 new playground coming. I would have liked to have seen that entire playground refurbished and used at a school or used in another community, another new park somewhere else. But that's my opinion on the park situation. Thank you.
So I will say quickly about the banking piece of the question. Working in that industry, the bad actors will always be one step ahead of us. They're always going to be one step ahead of the rest of us. And we have to be a little bit more diligent and be more concise in our processes and policies. However, overall, with both situations, I'm really interested in the investigation piece of it, because if it's an internal investigation versus an external investigation, how thorough is it and who's controlling the investigation? And that's really the question that I would have. And I can't answer that because I'm not on the inside, but I do think that when there's a situation with that much money or a liability to the county, it should be more of an external investigation rather than internal.
Well, similar to Dr. Tate's comments, to the level that I'm able to speak to the 2 questions, we do know what happened with the cyber attack, but we're limited under personnel laws that we can't speak too much to that, and we're limited under the State Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That answers Ms. Hardy's question. Those are both internal and external investigations that are going on. Pender County is not new to a cyber attack, as been many large-scale companies and entities and governments throughout the country. Some 14-year-old in a Jamaican closet down there is scamming money every day from somebody. We all know that. Everybody gets phone calls about your Medicaid and Medicare and stuff like that, and it happens. It's one right after the other. There is checks and balances and policies in place, but we deal with humans that work for the county government. We don't have any robots, and sometimes humans make mistakes. And under the personnel laws, that's as far as I can take that. As far as the playground equipment, I don't have much further to say other than the statement that the county manager put out, that the question about the equipment went to the parks director, the county manager, and the county attorney. And what happened after that equipment was demoed or whatever happened. I don't have any further information other than that. But that's where I stand. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this comes down to trust. Do we trust that our government is taking care of our money, taking care of our assets? When it comes to the scam, yeah, of course, people get scammed all the time, but do we have the proper procedures in place? Do we have the employees trained? Where we have the check and balances? You know, what can we do to fix the problems and trust in Pender County? New leadership. That's what I think will start in the right direction, right? Well, you know, the state auditor will come out, it'll give us a plan, checks and balances. I know the county manager is working on the bank, and so I trust that we'll move forward with that. As for the playground equipment, to say we don't know, I mean, we saw a gracious thank you over the playground equipment, right? How does playground equipment that is deemed unsafe end up in the wealthiest neighborhood in Hampstead? How does that happen? Who approved that? Well, if the county manager didn't do it, if the county manager didn't approve it, the question is, who did? And that's where trust has to come in. Just be honest. Hey, we made a mistake. No big deal. If you believed you had it in the right means, that's fine. But let's not pretend we don't know what happened. All right? Now, there's proper policies. Why is it important for taxpayer money to have it sold off? Well, because we can recoup the taxpayer money. And if it was deemed so safe that it could go somewhere, anybody here doesn't live in Hampstead that would have liked some playground equipment somewhere else that is owned by the county? Absolutely you would have. So I think this is a bigger issue than just, a few policy changes. This is just being honest, straightforward, and holding yourself to accountability. And you do that with new leadership. Thank you.
As this is a ongoing investigation, I will put faith in the institution to conduct the investigation, work with, or our elected officials work with the state auditor to pursue. I do believe when the case is closed, a after action review needs to be done to strengthen our policies within this county to ensure that we do not make the same mistake twice. Yes, the human factor is the weakest link in cybersecurity, and I do believe we need constant training at the county level within all departments that deal with finances. As a federal employee, I had to do that every 3 months as a GPC holder. It is beneficial. People will scam you any way possible. So we do need training at the county level to ensure that this does not happen again. Thanks.
All right, we've gone through all of our questions. I'd like to thank the audience for submitting questions. And I've been asked why we only featured the commissioners this time around. And it's because these are the people that you're going to elect who are going to control the purse strings. That impacts the school board. Maybe in the fall, if the interest is there, we will do more. But for now, this is an important, when you've got 4 out of 5 seats, it's important. And that's why we did what we did tonight. On behalf of the chamber, we thank you very much. We do not endorse. We do not have a dog in this fight, and that's why we wanted to provide a fair and balanced platform. So thank you all for being here. And now we're going to wrap up with a 2-minute tell why you should be elected, and we're going to start with, what a name, Max.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for showing up. It's good to have people involved in the process of everything, to hear all the candidates. I want to be the next county commissioner because I think it's important that with the amount of infrastructure projects we have coming up, with the growth, with the newest tax assessment and everything like that, having someone who could help the rest of the members of the boards maybe understand some of these contracts of construction lingo and everything like that. Like, for example, I don't remember there being a conversation with the schools in terms of why not on the front end oversizing the pylons and footers so that we can add for growth in the future by adding additional stories. Why were they only sized to the certain accommodation that they were? Just as an example. Maybe that conversation was what did happen and I didn't hear it. I'll leave that to the other people to discuss. I believe in term limits. I believe that it's important that even all the way down to the dog catcher, I think it's important that we have fresh ideas, fresh perspectives, some new blood. So for those reasons, I believe that I could be a good commissioner if you allow me to be, and I would like to ask for your vote, and God willing, we'll have a good outcome for all the races coming this November. Thank you.
Well, I'm running for your commissioner, and I will admit I don't know footers and concrete, but I do know what I learned in commissioner school, this duty of a county commissioner, how to manage your budget in the county. I manage it much better than I do my own. I also know the role of working with our school board. I know how important it is to continue those conversations. We meet with our school board periodically with a committee called Priority One. We're meeting with them and the superintendent often to see the needs of the schools. I was just on the phone with the superintendent a couple of nights ago at 10 o'clock at night talking about an issue that's at one of our schools here on the east side of the county. We see the same thing at Pender High and other schools as well. I do believe that while we have a new board, this whole board, majority of our board, you may be looking at the next time, have less than 2 years of experience. And with the complex issues with a new county manager, a new board, I believe experience does matter. I believe we need to have someone, before we come in and change the UDO, understand what the UDO is and why we established that. It's very easy to come from various places and say everything's going wrong, but there's a reason why we established those policies and procedures. And I believe it's important to have someone that have that institutional knowledge at the basis, but also have a proven track record. Don't vote on me because I've been on the board. Vote on me because of my track record helping bring businesses here and helping invest in our county and helping to bridge the east and west divide. I hear that too often. I want us to work together. We're one county, and I want us to work on the issues here in our county that make us a very prosperous county and going to bring jobs here where your children can return back to Pender County and earn a very quality of life. Thank you.
Good evening. A little bit about myself and my qualifications for commissioner. I was raised on a farm. After that, I enlisted 6 years in the Marine Corps as an air intel analyst, got my college degree, and then spent the next 25 years as a naval aviator, helo pilot specifically. I completed 6 combat tours. I led and managed at numerous levels of governmental staffs within the Department of War, managed the personnel, the operations, the budgets, the supply, logistics, the maintenance, and overall care of hundreds of aircraft. I have a Master's of Science degree in Aeronautical Science from Embry-Riddle. I've been married to my wife of 29 years, who is also a former Marine, and she has a small business here in Pender County. I have 2 kids that have been through all of Pender County schools. One has graduated from East Carolina University and is currently working at Duke Power as a nuclear power operator, and one is currently a cheerleader at East Carolina. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just like you. I share your concerns. I live here. I know what you're going through. I'm deeply embedded in the community. I'm deeply embedded in the schools. I pledge to keep your taxes low. I pledge to keep and to control the growth within our community and invest in a depleted infrastructure. I am Shane Fry, and I am running to be Pender County Commissioner. Thank you very much for your support.
I recently met with staff to clarify my budget questions. I reviewed hundreds of pages of the current budget and future meetings planned. I have a strong understanding of past budgets and the current budget. I'm prepared for the upcoming budget workshops. Yes, we can reduce our expenses. Yes, we can increase revenues. Commerce Park, everybody ever hear of Amazon? Both will reduce property taxes. I've had experience working with FEMA. It took us 5 years to get reimbursed for ICES. It took Pender County 8 years to get reimbursed for Florence. I would look at opportunities to actually have our own reserve FEMA fund, an unrestricted fund where we could move it around if necessary. I have no concerns with the general fund, reserves, our debt service coverage ratio, and our county credit score. State legislators, FEMA, U.S. Corps of Engineers, DEQ, NCO-DOT, WMPO. I've attended all of them. North Carolina Land Trust. I was part of the acquisition of the South End, and many other federal and local agencies. I receive a North Carolina legislative report when they meet. I support Pender County Education Partnership, Share a Table Food Pantry, and the Pender County Humane Society. I supported and met multiple times with Roy Cooper while he served as governor, and I've also met with our current governor, Josh Stein. Either we continue the same path or we improve it. I'd like to be part of the improvement. I appreciate the time to share my experience and goals. I'm excited knowing that we can do much better as a county board for the taxpayers of Pender County. We do not need to raise taxes, in my opinion, for the next 3 years. As taxpayers in 279 days, November 4th, I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you for coming.
First, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. You didn't have to be here. Thank you for being here. I want to thank Andy and Tammy for being here and putting this on and for allowing us all to be heard and answer these questions as a group in front of the community. Without each of you in this room, there's going to be no changes in our community. None of us on this stage can do it alone. We need each other. We're an at-large style of local government. It takes all of us working together to make a difference. One vote can make a difference, but we're going to need 3 votes to move forward. As I stated in my opening introduction, I'm going to continue serving our community, paid or unpaid, as I have for the last 2 decades. I'm not going to disappear after this election. I'm going to keep doing what I need to do in this community to help all of us. I've faced my challenges and setbacks, but I'm still here, and I'm ready to fight for every resident of Pender County, no matter which side of the county you live on. I'm challenging all candidates tonight to focus on the future of Pender County, and at the same time, I'm challenging the voters in our community in this room and watching at home to build a strong team moving forward, so that we can begin addressing our community's obstacles of today and tomorrow. There are 4 positions available. You can change the face of our local government. Whether you like it or not, our local government is a team sport. It takes a team working together to solve problems. We have to stop fighting each other and put our energy into moving forward and working together for our community. Again, I'm running because I believe in Pender County. I'm invested, experienced, and passionate. I ask for your support so that together we can continue building a safer, stronger, and brighter future for all of our families. Thank you, and God bless Pender County.
First of all, thank you all. I would echo the thank you to you all here tonight. I know that it's a cold night. It would be much more comfortable sitting at home in front of a fire than being here listening to us talk about issues. But we do appreciate all of you coming here tonight. And I appreciate the time with the candidates. I got to hear a lot of different perspectives, and I learned a lot, which is a great opportunity for me. I think if you can leave any situation having learned something, it was well worth your time to do it. Again, I will just say that I believe in balanced growth for Pender County. I appreciate your support. My biggest ask from all of this, though, is that please come out and vote on March 3rd and then again in November, because without our citizens voting, the right really diminishes in its value. And I think now is the time for us all to stand forward, no matter who you're going to vote for, but preferably for me. But please exercise that right. It's very important, especially in this time. Thank you.
I want to thank Ms. Proctor and the chamber for putting this on tonight. Thank the citizens for coming out. The ones of you who I see quite frequently. I see some familiar faces in the audience that show up to several meetings. And thank you for all you do for your communities. I'll echo Dr. Tate. Those of us who have been on the Board of Commissioners for the past year and a half or so, all we have is the best intentions for the growth and the future of our county. The county we were born and raised in, the county we were children in, the county we raised our children in. I'm a lifelong public servant. That's all I've ever known my entire adult life. I've never worked in the private sector. I've always been a blue-collar firefighter, EMS medic, and a law enforcement officer, and that's all I ever will be at heart. I think we've done some great work in the past year and a half on the board, and we have some very important work ahead of us, and I cannot reiterate this enough. You're going to get notices next month of your property values, and some of you you need to be sitting down when you open that envelope, because your values have gone up a lot. And it's going to be our job, the 5 of us commissioners, to sit down and sharpen the pencils to bring your tax rate down so you don't have to write a bigger check than you wrote this year, next year. And that's my intention and my commitment to you tonight. We have a healthy fund balance of over $65 million. That's plenty of money for us to help through a storm or two. We do not need to increase the revenue of government on the backs of you, the taxpayer, when we've got industry and business moving into this county and good jobs coming to this county. I know Amazon was mentioned. That's going to be a big tax increase for the county, for you, the citizen, and not on the backs of you writing your property tax check. That's very important. And please heed the warnings of the news and the weather for this coming weekend. Don't get caught shorthanded in this weather. Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody who came out here tonight. You know, this is the part of the citizenry getting engaged with your candidates. And with that said, I'd like to thank every candidate up here tonight for sharing what you had with the voters. Thank you, Ms. Proctor, Mr. Pettigrew, for what you did tonight. Look, coming to Pender County, coming off of 20 years of serving my country, both in peace and war, and coming to what is to find peace within the blessings of this county, I can never repay you all. And standing up here before you, asking for your vote, is me once again going in debt to you so I can serve and provide the leadership that I think is needed in this county to face the challenges that have been mounting over the last few years. District 2 needs a new leadership. It needs change. It does. We need to right the ship. My family is here. I want to make sure that this county has the future, the prosperous future necessary so that my kids, as they're going through school, they leave in a productive lifestyle, and my daughter, who's already off in college, wants to come back here because the opportunities are great. My wife sits there every day and educates the future of Pender County students, and she wants the very same place, and together we're trying to figure out how we can best serve. And I think we obviously know how to do that. We need to keep the budget restrained. We need to keep taxes low. We need to keep development in check. We need to keep our roads safe. But the biggest and most important thing is we need to build trust in our government. And how do we build trust? We do it by restoring integrity. We restore the service, leader-servant mentality where we work for you. You don't work for our political ambitions. We are here for all the people of Pender County, not for a title. We're not here to make ourselves look good. We're here to make everybody's life better and make sure that the future of Pender County looks bright. And I hope as I stand before you that you like what I've said. I hope for your support. I hope for your vote. God bless you and God bless Pender County. Thank you.
Yes. First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. Pender County is my home, and I want the best for my home. As a county employee, I get to see behind the scenes. I see what works and what doesn't. And I know what needs to be fixed. Out of all the candidates up here, I'm the only one that can say that. At the end of the day, it is not just your tax dollars, it's my tax dollars. I want to ensure that those dollars get spent the right way and goes the furthest it can. So we don't have to say next year, hey, we want to raise taxes to accomplish certain projects. We don't need that. We have the ability to do that right now. And with your support, I will be able to bring that to this board. Thank you.
I started out, I was going to say something a little bit different. It's not coming out the way I wanted to, but with my background in construction, refereeing, I'm used to managing people, situations, being creative, thinking. One of my degrees in building technologies as well, so the future development, the planning, all that hits home. Obviously, with tax money, it's your money. We've got to be responsible for it. Ultimately, I'd love to see no property taxes, especially with the elderly. Once you get a certain age, it'd be great if it all went away, but I don't know how we'd manage that. But once you get to retirement age, I'd love to see no more property tax, and I know some of the other states are doing it. There's a little bit coming down from the feds that are getting more involved. But you work hard to pay for your home. I think you get to a certain point, you ought to be able to enjoy it. And taxes and insurance is like making your mortgage payment by itself. So I'd love to see all that diminish. Help the elderly. Just keep costs down across the whole county. But improve our roads, our egress development, do it properly, and support the police and fire department. Again, so they support us. Thanks.
All right. Thank you all for being here tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Jeeves with the bell. And thank you, audience, for being here. And give yourself a round of applause because you were so kind.